Hello everyone, my name is Brittany Anderson and I will be presenting Chapter 9, Communication. To be an effective leader, managers must have good communication skills, particularly during tough economic times. As former GE CEO Jack Welch said, in tough times, you have to communicate like you've never communicated before. I will begin with the communication process. Communication process is the process of transmitting information from one person to another to create a shared understanding and feeling. Simply, an act of conveying intended information and understanding from one person to another is called communication. The word communication comes from the Latin word communicare, meaning to share or make common. Communication, that information is transmitted and received as was intended. Next, I will discuss the barriers of communication. Nonverbal communication is communication that is not spoken or written but that have meanings to others. Nonverbal communication plays an important role in our understanding of a message. These nonverbal signals can give clues and additional information and meaning over and above spoken verbal communication. Body language. Body language is a body movement such as a gesture or expression that conveys information to others. For communication to be effective and meaningful, then all three parts of the message need to be congruent. Consciously controlling your body language is as important as managerial skill as knowing how to interpret other body language. Controlling your nonverbal signals and vocal tone ensures that you reinforce your intended message. If you want people to see you as a leader, stand up straight, make eye contact, and smile. Those signals project confidence and energy. Walking with slumped shoulders and with your head down, speaking in a flat tone, and fidgeting often communicate that you are indecisive, negative, or inexperienced. Next is verbal intonation, which is the emphasis given to spoken words and phrases. An example is the simple words, "May I speak with you?" That can be interpreted very differently if I said in a cheery, upbeat tone versus a strong or angry tone. When body language is inconsistent with the spoken message, receivers are most likely to interpret your body language as the true meaning. Now we come to one-way communication, which is information that flows in only one direction. The sender more likely to interpret your body language as the true meaning. Once a receiver provides feedback to a sender, the sender and receiver have engaged in a two-way communication. If a manager tells an employee to join a telephone conference and the employee says, "I'll be right there," this is a two-way communication. Feedback enhances the effectiveness of the communication process by helping to ensure that the intended message is the one received. Once the receiver provides feedback to a sender, the sender and receiver have engaged in a two-way communication. It's task interdependence, which is when one person or unit is dependent on another person for resources or information to get the work done. Communication needs increase. Three types of interdependence are pooled interdependence, sequential interdependence, and reciprocal interdependence. Pooled interdependence is when employees work independently and their output is combined into a group output. Because employees work independently, pooled interdependence has low communication requirements. Sequential interdependence is like an assembly line. It requires tasks to be performed in a certain order. This increases the need for communication as individuals or groups are dependent on other individuals or groups for the resources they need to complete their own task. Lastly, reciprocal interdependence, which requires constant communication and mutual adjustment for task completion, such as cross-functional research and development team or an event planning team, and creates the highest potential for conflict. Barriers to effective communication, which is a number of potential barriers to effective communication that exist. The communication process involves a number of steps. Through these steps, feedbacks create two-way communication that helps to check on the success of the communication and ensure that the received message was accurate. Sometimes, though, problems can arise at any point during the communication process that makes the message ultimately received different from the one sent. Next is the communication model. Begins with encoding, which occurs when the message sender converts a thought, idea, or fact into a message composed of symbols, pictures, or words. Second is the message. which is the encoded information being sent. Once the encoding is finished, the sender gets the message that he intends to convey. Third is the channel, which is the medium used to send the message to the receiver, including voice, writing, graphs, videos, the internet, television, and body language. Third, the coding is the interpretation and translation of the message back into something understood by the receiver. 5 is feedback, which is a check on the success of the communication. The message receiver sends a new message back to the original sender, and the original sender assesses if the receiver understood the original message as intended. Next is communication skills. Communicating effectively is an important managerial skill and a skill critical for effective leadership. Many barriers exist to good communication that are beyond your control, but improving your communication skills can help. First communication skill is listening skills. Active listening, becoming actively involved in the process of listening to what others are saying and clarifying messages, meaning listening is not the same as hearing. Hearing is passive. Listening is active. Search for meaning. Next is your writing skill. From memos and business letters to emails, managers frequently need to communicate in writing. Effective business writing is not just about grammar and punctuation, it's about the style and tone that also have to be appropriate for the audience. Presentation skills. Do you ever get nervous when you're about to make a presentation? It's perfectly normal to feel this way before speaking in front of a group, or even if you have a lot of experience. Fortunately, being a little nervous tends to improve with practice. Managers need effective presentation skills to present proposals to supervisors, to communicate with others, managers, and groups. Next is communication media. Start with the internet. The internet has fundamentally changed how many managers communicate. Instead of filtering the information coming into an organization, they are now responsible for aligning information with business goals and acting as facilitators by bringing the right people together to solve business problems as a collaborative community. Although technology should never replace all face-to-face interaction between leaders and subordinates, it can help the communication process by giving leaders more communication choices. Voicemail, which is similar to email, but instead of writing, a spoken message is digitized and sent to someone to be retrieved and listened to later. Like emails, voicemails can be saved or sent to others to hear. In most systems today, voicemail can also be converted into email. Instant message. Instant messaging enables users to see who is logged on and to chat with them in real time rather than emailing and waiting for a response. This allows employees to get in touch with each other immediately, to get input or ask questions. Telework. Telework is a work conducted in a location other than a central office or production facility with communication between coworkers and supervisors occurring via electronic communication systems. Telecommuting allows organizations to reduce the amount of office space they own or rent and decrease employees' need to commute to work. There are 4 major types of telework. Home base, which includes people who work at home all day. Satellite office, which are situated to be more convenient for employees and or customers, normally be the main office location. Third is neighborhood work. There are centers that provide office space for the employees of more than one company in order to save commutes to central locations. Lastly is mobile work. Refers to work completed by traveling employees who use technology to communicate with the office as necessary, from places such as client offices, airports, cars, and hotels. Next is media richness. Some of the most popular are the internet collaboration software, intranets, and oral communication. Media richness is an important factor for each form. Interactivity gives immediate feedback. Your ability to transmit cues, language variety, and personal focus on media. Organizational communication, which is the exchange of information among 2 or more individuals or groups in an organization that creates a common basis of understanding and feeling. Organizational communication can move in a variety of directions and be formal or informal. Downward communication occurs when higher level employees communicate to those at lower levels of the organization. Upward communication occurs when lower level employees communicate with those at higher levels. Encouraging upward communication can help managers check the subordinates understand their goals and instructions, keep managers informed of employee challenges and complaints, and cultivate acceptance committed by employees the opportunity to express ideas and suggestions. Horizontal communication, which occurs when someone in an organization communicates with others at the same organizational level. Managers often depend on each other to help get the job done, and communication is necessary. Diagonal communication, which allows employees in different parts of an organization to contribute to create a new product or solving a problem. Diagonal communication also helps to link groups and spread information around the firm. Lastly, is formal communication, which are official organization-sanctioned communications. They can be upward, downward, horizontal, or diagonal. Formal communication channels typically involve some sort of written communication that provides a permanent record of the exchange. Formal communication is usually interpreted accurately. Informal communication is anything that is not official. And for the discussion board question, which do you think is more important for organizations, downward communication or upward communication? Thank you.